Review for conics and vectors section of the SLO test. These formulas at the top are the formulas that you will get, and this is the way they are written. So it is not written with A and B, it is written with X and Y. And if you notice, for the angle, it does not say tangent, it says arctangent, which of course, as you know, means to take the inverse tangent. A lot of these are not actually multiple choice, pretty much because they're so easy. So there is a component form question on there. Make sure that you do head minus tail or end minus beginning. And so that would be -4 minus 3 and then 9 minus 1. So the component form in the proper brackets is -7, 8. Magnitude and direction. Magnitude, as you know, is the square root of 6 squared plus 8 squared. It says to round to the nearest tenth. This is actually a whole number. And then for the angle, the tangent is inverse tangent, or the tangent of theta is equal to 8 over -6. Pay attention to your quadrant. If you graphed -6, 8, second quadrant, you actually get -53.130. You have to add 180 to that. So your angle is 126.9 degrees. Now component form. You're not really given this formula. You are given the parts though. That's what x equals r cosine theta. So x is equal to 12 cosine 60, and then y is equal to, you don't need this I guess, 12 sine 60. This is on the unit circle, so decimals is not really a thing. The cosine of 60 is of course 1/2, and the sine of 60 is radical 3 over 2. Please reduce your fractions. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 12 divided by 2 is still 6, but this next one is 6 radical 3. Everything's positive because it's in the first quadrant. For number 3b, we have 15 cosine of 210. Oops, cosine, I'm not sure what I wrote there. Cosine of 210, 15 sine of 210. So 15 times negative radical 3 over 2. And 15 over 1 times -1/2. So when you simplify this, there's not much to do. -15 radical 3 over 2 and -15 over 2. Or you could have -7.5. That's it for the vectors. Not much. Now the conics. As you can see, you get no formulas or hints for the conics. To be able to identify your conic sections, pay attention to which letters are positive and negative, if there is a different signs, if the values are the same in front. So here what I mean is we have only one letter squared. That makes this a parabola. Looking in front of the x squared and the y squared is the only really thing that matters. Here we are adding. Adding is either a circle or an ellipse. And since the numbers in front are different, that makes it an ellipse. Here we are subtracting. Even though the numbers are the same, it doesn't matter. Subtracting automatically makes it a hyperbola. We're asked to write the equation of this conic section. We have the foci at -2, 0, and 2, 0. I'm going to use this little graph down here. -2, 0, and 2, 0. That makes the center at 0, 0. In an ellipse, x squared can come first. I would always put x squared first in an ellipse, actually. You can tell that the value for c, that's the distance from the center to the foci, c is 2, and we know that a obviously is 7. The formula is c squared equals a squared minus b squared, and so we get 4 equals 49 minus b squared. I can't believe let me get rid of this here, it's in the way. So I'm just going to move this over here. 4 equals 49 minus b squared. And when you subtract 49, you get negative 45 is negative b squared. So b squared is 45. Now, because the focal points run left and right, that means the vertices run left and right. And in an ellipse, a squared is the bigger one. And you can see that 49 is bigger than 45. So underneath the x would go the 49, and underneath the y would go the 45. And for this last one, we're going to write the equation of hyperbola. Now, in a hyperbola, you want to make sure that a squared is first. Where the vertices are is actually first. Now, they straight up tell you that c squared equals 53, so that's kind of nice. But let's plot these points. We have negative 3, 9. There are 10 on this grid. That's a vertex. And we're at negative 3, negative 5. That's another vertex. So between positive 9 and negative 5, there are 14 points or spaces or inches, whatever you want to call it. And then so the halfway would be 7. So our center is at 7 down from the 9 or 7 up from the negative 5. So here's the center at negative 3, 2. You can also tell from that it runs up and down, right? Our hyperbola would open up and down, which means that y squared comes first. So we would have y minus 2 quantity squared minus x plus 3 quantity squared. Remember, into the center or into the formula or out of the formula, you always do the opposite. Hyperbola always equals 1. Since y is first, I guess it doesn't matter, we need to find a squared. The value for a is the distance from the center to the vertex. So that's 7. And in this, the equation is c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So 53 equals 49 plus b squared. So b squared equals 4. So since it runs up and down, underneath the y is 49, underneath the x is 4.